Henry Burris TV is brought to you by Hockey Central Sports Memorabilia, Sylvan Lake, and Supreme Menswear, simply the best. Well, the playoffs are coming. And this weekend is really an interesting matchup for a lot of teams. Not only do you guys travel to Montreal, but you have a big game, Edmonton taking on the BC Lions. BC scrambling with injuries.
Big time.
One of your buddies is going to play for the Lions.
Yeah, Ryan Thelwell gave me a call just yesterday and gave me the big news. I was quite shocked at first knowing that he's retired, but the opportunity to go play for a team that is playoff bound and an opportunity to possibly, as far as one of the 6 teams, get a ring. I mean, it's something that every guy will take that advantage of that. I mean, his wife Liz was on board. His boss at work said, if you don't do it, I'll kill you myself. So, of course, he flew out, and he's out in Vancouver now practicing, possibly getting ready to play this weekend against the Edmonton Eskimos in a huge game for the Lions.
Well, they are just hurting. They are a hurting unit. Yeah. Well, you lost the game, and you lose that many players. Lule on a bad leg too. So what have you heard? I mean, as far as the Lions go.
Well, of course, Travis Lule. I mean, right now he's battling a high ankle sprain, which typically puts guys out for a few weeks. But we heard it's a minor sprain. He's going to give it a go this week. I mean, they're going to need him, and of course, they're giving Jarius a lot more reps to make sure he's ready to go, because this is a big game for both of those teams. Because I mean, especially for us, looking from the outside in, because right now Edmonton's 1 game up on both BC and ourselves. They're at 10-6 Edmonton. We're both at 9-7, being BC and Calgary. So for those 2 teams, it's huge. And right now with Sean Gore and their other Canadian out, as far as at receivers, I mean, losing 2 of your top Canadians at receiver, they're in dire straits right now, as well as Andrew Harris having the injury that he had. And they have a number of guys, Khalif Mitchell, their top defensive lineman right now, who's really been a havoc in the defensive offensive backfield for many of the teams he played against, including us. He's out right now, but they're trying to scramble all these guys back for this very important game against, to me, a red-hot Edmonton Eskimo team as well.
Hank, what's the difference between a low ankle sprain and a high ankle sprain? I mean, we're talking like just a couple of millimeters, centimeters. I deal with inches. I'm old school. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the difference is a low ankle sprain is almost just like a twisting motion. Yeah. You're just kind of separating, some ligaments here and there, kind of pulling some tendons. High ankle sprain is a different world. Some people actually tell you that you'd rather break your ankle than actually have a high ankle sprain, because it's a separation of the muscle from the bone, which is, trust me, excruciating. I mean, it's hard to put any pressure on that ankle, really get any push, and really maneuver, and especially for a guy like Travis Lule and a lot of quarterbacks, even like myself, when I dealt with it back in 2004 in Saskatchewan, it's hard to move around. And when that's part of your game, it's really something that isn't there. Look at Darian Durant when he played against us in the number of teams with the sprained foot. People thought it was possibly broken. In times when he thought he could move and it was gradual and it was just going to happen, instead of him moving and eluding a tackle, he's getting blown up now. And the same thing possibly could happen for Travis.
Yeah. Couldn't they just say minor ankle sprain, severe ankle sprain? I mean, it's so technical and all these injuries.
Well, I mean, the trainers have to sound like they're doing their jobs at least, right? So
warrant that the big bucks that get paid.
Exactly.
So when you're looking at this, even down the east right now, the playoff picture down there is still pretty murky, which brings us to an interesting point. Usually by this time of year, Montreal's got it all wrapped up, and they can play some of the backup players. But that's not the case. So I would imagine that's going to be an interesting scenario for them playing you guys, because they know there's still home court advantage possibilities.
Yeah, that was a huge loss for them, losing to Winnipeg. I mean, they lost a couple of key players on defense as well. So they're doing some more scrambling, especially in that defensive backfield. A lot of things are truly taking place over there. Dwight Anderson, a guy who is supposed to have been the anchor of that defensive backfield, of course, with all the injuries to Marcus Stell and a number of the players on the back, and they've had to do some shuffling, bring in some new players, move some guys off the bench into the starting lineup. But Dwight Anderson,
where did he go? Mysteriously, he just kind of slipped under the radar.
Well, some places you can wear your welcome out a lot quicker than others. I mean, John Huffnagel was very patient with Dwight Anderson because he brought a lot of great things to the table. But Mark Trestman, homie, don't play that. I mean, he got rid of him quick. I mean, he got him out there. Right now, Dwight is back home with the family. He's getting paid. They put him on the 9 games, so therefore his salary won't go towards the team cap. But pretty much he's suspended for the rest of the season, and he will not be an Alouette no more.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I thought, I was surprised that Trustman picked him up. And I was surprised, no matter how good he could play at times, that Hufnagel let him stay here that long. Now, let me ask you this. Was it not for Corey Chamberlain? Would he still have been here?
Well, having that
he looks like he can control him.
Well, Corey definitely had a great relationship with him, and you know, also keeping him on his meds. I mean, that was another thing. But I mean, a lot of the guys what
keeping him on his meds.
Well, actually, the situation that he has is actually clinically proven. I mean, that he has a disease that, you know, it's almost like a bipolar type disease, and you know, he was on a medication that he had to take just to keep his, you know, nerves calm and so on and so forth, and but those things catch up to him at some point in time here, and really the guys in Montreal thought they could change him, and really make him a new person by bringing him into an organization that has lots of positiveness, a great atmosphere, lots of veteran leadership there, which typically you feel can keep those type of guys down, but he's an outsider looking in some sort of way, because he wasn't a part of all their championships that they won. He was really the competition, one of their main competitions towards winning their championships. So I knew when he came in, he wasn't as comfortable as he was here in Calgary, having guys like Corey Chamberlain and the number of guys on the defensive staff that were able to work with him, knew him as a person away from the field, knew his family and his kids, and were able to keep him calm. But like you say, he wore out his welcome there, really didn't have those relationships with that person he could go to. And just when people think you can possibly change a guy, you maybe can take him out of Calgary, but you can't take the Dwight out of the man, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, and you know, they have some adjustments to make, because they have to keep pace with Winnipeg right now, who has a tiebreaker, who won it this past week with an impressive victory of shutting down Calvillo, which is something you typically never see, because those guys play like no other. They play together as a good unit, and it was, you know, it was shocking to see that, but they did a great job. So now they're playing catch up just as we are, so that's why it's a big game for both teams.
Dwight Anderson's bipolar. Isn't that what Jeff Garcia was? Sorry, I got part of it right.
Oh my gosh.